We appreciate you. All right.
Go ahead. Get in there, Doug.
Couple pieces of garbage to chew on. First one. Trans pilot falsely blamed in DC plane crash sues conservative influencer. And then I want to read this part in the article before I start ranting. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yep.
On January 30th, less than 24 hours after the crash, conservative influencer Matt Wallace, who has 2.2 million followers on the social media platform Twitter, we're not saying that, we're saying Twitter, shared a post from another account he operates stating that the helicopter pilot was transgender. According to the lawsuit, Wallace included a photo of Ellis, and the post went viral, the lawsuit states. Wallace deleted that original post, according to the lawsuit, and then shared two others linking Ellis to the crash. One referred to an interview that Ellis did with some TV show, I guess on CNN. I looked into that.
Okay.
And the only thing I can think of is like maybe she went on that and then she became aware to conservatives that she was in the military because she was like speaking out on CNN. You know what I'm saying? And got targeted, whatever. In which she said President Donald Trump's executive order barring trans people from serving and enlisting in the military made her nervous. It's also disgusting, and he shouldn't have done that. The second post included photos of Ellis and said she might have participated in another trans terror attack, which is like insane. Like,
yeah, that's bananas.
According to the lawsuit, that post received 4.8 million views on X, the suit states. All right, so basically what it boils down to for me, I read this, I saw the title, I read this, and why is it that so many people, when they're posting online, like don't even care at all about what's true or not? I think most reasonable people would wish this person well in her suing of this person who posted this falsehood. You know what I'm saying? But like, obviously we know why people do it, for attentions and clicks, right? And they probably monetize it on the Twitter or whatever. But it's just like more my question is, and I want to see what you think, and I was thinking too, just what goes through people know that they're posting bullshit, right? You do you agree with that or no? Or do you think people just post maybe in haste and make mistakes? And you think they don't realize that they're like the scum of the earth that will burn in hell? Because I feel like they do know. What do you think?
I think, well, the person making this go viral, I don't really think they're in good faith. But the people just
agreed
believing the story, seeing a clip of a tweet or just retweeting something, I do think they believe that this is real.
That's an interesting angle, and I'm with you. We can't let people off for reading stuff and still just blindly. That's what you mean, right?
No, it's still fucking dumb. And you know what this is? This is uniquely a problem. This is uniquely a problem of the chronically online. Right, because...
Right, yep, I think I wrote that.
Typically something happens, and if you're a reasonable person, like, yeah, you're curious, but let the dust settle, let it get figured out.
Normal behavior, right.
Right. This seems like, let's see, I think this story went viral the day that the accident happened.
Right.
Less than 24 hours after the crash. There we go.
It was just done in haste. Right.
Correct. Right. Because that means that there's people who are very politically aligned one way or the other that are chronically online, plugged into the minute-by-minute news cycle. And when they see something happen, they just have to have a story about it. And there's people out there who will serve them up that story if it fits their understanding of the world, and it is compelling. And here you go. Less than 24 hours. I mean,
it's crazy how people let themselves get there. I guess you could always make the argument that like desperate people will do what they need to, but I don't know that like.
Don't be chronically online. Just don't be chronically.
Yeah, like
online.
I wrote another note I had is some people get so wrapped up in living online and attention online they sacrifice reality. You know what I'm saying? And it's sad because then people get affected and defamed. Yeah, that's what I said. And then I was like, if you do not check your bubble at all, you end up looking like a douche, right? If you just live in your bubble, in your echo chamber, and you have no way to critically think your way out of it, like it's going to go wrong at a certain point.
Well,
now, this person probably has done this before, and it's probably a dirtball, but, you know, my point still stands in general.
Absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, well, it's funny, too, because a lot of these people aren't even, like, motivated by money. They're just motivated by generating sort of generating part of the conversation. They just like this post received 4.8 million views on X. You know, this guy loved this. Even if he didn't make a dime, he just appreciates the attention that the shit stirring.
But you can eventually make dimes off that, which is also ultimately why.
Of course you can.
But you're right. But it's still not all about the money. You're right. There are people who legitimately, for some reason, wake up every day and decide to like push that their mission. Usually they're like called by God to push like culture, right? And it comes from that perspective instead of like a monetary one. It's like, oh, like God called me to like do a Tradwife TikTok account. Like I bet you there's people that actually say that out there. You know what I'm saying? God called me to. Anyways, I'm not gonna say it again. It's ridiculous, but
just to rewind.
But you're right. It doesn't have to be monetarily. It's just they get what they want with whatever the narrative they're pushing or money. Go ahead.
Well, attention for these people.
And
but that was just kind of an aside.
Yeah, of course.
Just to turn back to your bubble comment, especially with the people who are chronically online. They're definitely in that
like
bubble.
Matt Wallace. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know who Matt Walsh is.
I don't know, but go ahead.
You know what's funny is when I read this article, I kept reading Matt Walsh in my brain. And I was like, oh, that's not Matt Walsh.
I think he would also... Well, let's not say that. Anyways, go ahead.
He definitely... It came across his feed, if we're being honest. But regardless. As far as being in your bubble... So the second post, just to quote the article, the second post included photos of Ellis and said she might have participated in quote-unquote another trans terror attack. Which, like, if you're not in their bubble, which I'm not, I didn't realize there was a slate of transgender terrorist attacks.
Dude, it's crazy.
And I have to be honest, I don't think that's a real thing. But
no,
that's
it's
crazy
not.
That that's a narrative that sells.
Right. It's again, it brings me back to
like,
how are things that are so blatantly wrong and hateful and only come from like a perspective or of like a stand just from like a fake place, how do they get so popular? How do they get so much attention? I mean, this is the bane of the human existence for so long, since like the printing press. But it's still an unanswered question. Like, how does this stuff sell so well time and time again? It creeps up here and there over history.
Because it fits. It fits the narrative of what they expect to be true. So in their minds.
But why do you already hate trans people in such a blind way that you allow yourself to like believe this without doing any smidgen of respectful like searching? You know.
Yeah, but it just fits what they expect to be true about trans people.
Right? I know, and I know the answer is that simple and that easy. It just makes me frustrated. Mental health. I don't even think it's mental health issues, bro. I think that's too strong a word. I think it is people genuinely, if they don't check themselves, do get into a place where they don't check at all, and so they just blindly believe.
No.
Oh yeah.
You've misunderstood.
Sorry.
Like they believe that all trans people have mental health issues.
Oh,
so for them to commit acts of terror fits the narrative of what they expect to be.
No, exactly right. Well, that kind of jived with what I was saying, but I see what you're. Yeah. That's right.
Well, it's funny too because they're
ready to swallow the cum of any narrative that agrees. Go ahead.
There was a shooting, I believe, 2 or 3 years ago. And it was somebody who identified, I don't know if they were trans or if they were like, non-binary, whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And they did a shooting at a primary school, like an elementary school, that they used to attend. And like 2 teachers died and I think like 2 children. Awful thing. Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, is a fucking drop in the bucket if you're talking about mass shooting incidents in this country. But regardless, a tragedy nonetheless. Mm-hmm. The person was belonging to the LGBT whatever community, and that was so magnified. I remember when that happened.
I knew you were going to end with that. Yeah, of course it was. It's just people are troglodytes, but yeah, go ahead.
It seems like since that event till now, there is this impression growing for the chronically online right that like what is this? Another transgender terrorist attack? Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, you know what?
Like, what is the bull that
I
you're
don't know,
in that's
dude.
like an acceptable? Like, what are we talking? What
makes
are
it?
these trans terror attacks?
Because I think you'll agree with this. I don't think you did this either. What makes it so that some people have this weird blind hate for others where when they get online and they can be anonymous, it all spills out? Have you ever in your internet history, because I haven't in mine, felt the need to, like, first of all, I don't even comment anyways for a reason, but have you ever felt the need for some hatred that you had for a group of people to spill out when you're online? Like, I'm sure your answer is no. It's just like, I don't understand how this, again, this isn't some revelation. I'm not sitting here saying, I just found out people on the internet suck, and when they're anonymous, they're actually trash bag human beings. No, we all know that for a while. I'm just like, why? Why does that happen? How does it happen? Why is it that once you do get that sort of anonymity, and you can be somewhere online that gives you that, you just all of a sudden, like, it's just weird, but...
Or just an awful person. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
I
they didn't
think
watch
the
Sesame Street growing up. Oh, go ahead, sir.
I think the people who are awful online are chronically unhappy people that are just looking for a way to express their distaste for whatever worldview they happen to be a part of.
Yeah, and I think when you're as plugged in as me and you still are, even though we hold the views that we have that are very counter-internet, these people who shouldn't be magnified, their views are magnified too, because I see so much online stuff. I do, so.
Yeah.
Yes. Something to remember.
Yeah, and it sucks too because, like, not only are bad takes incentivized in the like ad-based model of online media,
right?
But everybody that's reasonable has left the space of that conversation years ago. So the only people left really arguing about this and being chronically online, a lot of them are just in bad faith. They just can't quit it.
As Hillary would say, a basket of deplorables. A basket of deplorables. There you go.
Yeah. Like, if I'm at a bus stop and a bunch of people are arguing with each other, like to the point where it's like just incoherent anger, I'm walking away.
Yeah,
dude.
especially when you feel, especially when you feel, and that's the thing about reality compared to just being online or whatever. You feel the tension. You can feel what you should do. Like, sometimes you're near a fight outside and you know you're not threatened at all. You're waiting for the train. Who cares? And then sometimes you're outside waiting for the train and you feel like this fight's going to spill over into you somehow, and you just got to remove yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I got to get the fuck out of here.
This is truly what I believe about the political online space, is a lot of reasonable people, especially when you're talking about the worst forms of discourse, a lot of the reasonable people have just vacated the space.
Right.
Because it's just miserable fucking people.
Because they look around and they're like, yeah, I don't need to be here. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm not going to sit here and, like, I know this conversation's in bad faith. I'm not going to argue with the people who are here for that bad faith conversation because they're just dumb. I'm not going to participate. I'm leaving this space. So, I don't know.
It's tough. We do wish her well in her lawsuit, whatever she's doing, probably civil suit. I have no idea. But
well, you know what's funny is there was a piece of this where in my mind, as much as I sympathize with this person, and like, yeah, her life, as far as I can tell, has been turned upside down a little bit because she caught a lot of
we'll just leave it
attention to her.
We'll just leave it at it definitely hurt her life in ways, because we can never know to what degree. We don't know. But go ahead.
But traditionally in this country, libelism is a tough case in the courts because of the Second Amendment? First Amendment? First Amendment.
You tend to have to prove the losses if you make the claim, which I think
she probably has a case. But it is tough.
They got Rudy. They smacked Rudy down in Georgia. And then Trump got back in office. How crazy is that? That's wild.
He sure did.
Yeah.
And now Trump's suing news organizations for reporting poorly about him.
And it just feels like we're all in a trance where, unless the economy actually does crash, I don't think that Trumpism goes away, even after this term. Not that Trump will be the president again, but Trumpism.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Anyway.
You have to depend on whoever takes the Trumpism mantle, but anyway.
We wish her well.
And fuck bad faith assholes on Twitter.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's why you shouldn't live on there. It just, anytime I read it too, I'm always just like, man, like, I don't know, like, does Matt Wallace ever go? I mean, I think about, and I think about this a lot because I post videos, so you inherently you just do. I think about these people that are famous based on divisive stuff and like all the people in their lives, their family, their friends growing up, and just like how those interactions go now, and they must be like tough. And we're talking about people like this guy who is slandering transgenderism just blatantly. I'm not talking about people who ride the fence, whatever. That's whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's like people who are like openly hateful.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that historian that everyone's in such an uproar about, and they should be, because he said like Churchill was like the villain of World War II. It's like,
God!
Like if you were in my family and I knew you were famous and you said that, and we were at the Thanksgiving table, I would like just be staring at you, trying not to say it, but I'd end up saying it. You know, I would be like, hey, we got to talk about this. I mean, like, why would you say that? Why would you say that?
You understand what that is when you say something like that. There were two sides to that war, and if you're somebody who thinks Churchill was a terrorist or whatever the fuck, I understand the side that you were in favor of.
I do think
I'm a fan of you.
I do think it smacks of someone who probably is pro-Nazi, but is trying to code it best they can in a way that somehow is palatable, but still didn't make it palatable. But whatever. But yeah, we still don't know. It's just. My point was more. We still don't know, but my point was more. I mean, we think we know, but we don't know. But my point was more just like these people go home and they like have Thanksgiving dinner with their families, you know, and like, you know, Joey Bob is now Susie Grace because she's trans, and she knows that you're a hateful scumbag online. Like, does she say anything? Does she show? You know, I don't know.
Oh,
I just feel like
scumbag online, I'm sure you're saying something at the dinner table.
I guess I did have a point where, if you do live in a bubble like Matt Wallace probably does, it probably cuts off other people in your life too. Absolutely. Where they don't want to see you, and now it shrinks more and more and more. It's a dangerous place to be. Don't do it, boys and girls. Don't do it, all right?
Right, and the more you are alone in the real world, the more you have to go online to find community. And then now you're, you're a neo-Nazi. God bless. What happened?
It happens like that.
Uh-oh.
The Andrew Tate to neo-Nazi pipeline. Yikes. Absolutely yikes.
Let's say it's the Jordan Peterson to neo-Nazi pipeline.
Oh, that's more of a spicy take. That's more of a spicy take. The Andrew Tate one's not a spicy take.
Andrew Tate one is not a spicy take. Jordan Peterson